Well, I think that gives us a clear idea of the danger we're in. But we found that some young people who do take AIDS seriously still don't feel they have to do anything. Some of them think doctors will save them. After all, this is the 20th century. Doctors can cure most things, can't they? Well, First Aids will now show you the full extent of what medicine has to offer on the AIDS front.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Mr. Hasselblad.
Are the results of my test back yet?
Yes, they are. I'm afraid you've got AIDS and you're going to die.
Oh, no! Go on.
That's it.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a great sketch, is it?
You know, it covers the facts pretty thoroughly.
Covers the facts? You're supposed to be playing a doctor.
Yes.
Well, say some doctorish things, then.
Such as?
Such as, try not to worry, Mr. Hasselblad.
Try not to worry, Mr. Hasselblad.
Oh, say it properly.
Do try not to worry, Mr. Hasselblad.
Thank you, Doctor. I know I'm in good hands, and I'm sure you'll do everything you possibly can.
You are going to die.
Don't keep saying that.
Why not?
Well, because it just doesn't go anywhere, does it? I mean, try and embroider it slightly.
You are going to die quite soon?
No. This is pathetic. Look, I'll play the doctor, you play the patient.
All right. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Mr. Hasselblad.
Are the results of my test in yet?
Yes, they are, as a matter of fact.
Any problems?
Generally, no. Your blood's a good, healthy, sort of red colour. And there seems to be plenty of it. We did discover a tiny little bug called AIDS, but I shouldn't worry too much about it.
So, I'm all right, then?
Not all right, no. I mean, you're going to have to take a couple of days off work at some stage.
But you will be able to cure it, won't you?
Oh, good Lord, yes. No, honestly, it's a tiny little thing. You wouldn't give it a second glance if you saw it on the beach.
Could you cure it now, please?
Not absolutely now, no.
Why not?
Well, we've had a bit of a rush on over the Christmas period, curing all the new diseases, but the lab boys should have it straightened out fairly soon.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, absolutely sure, yes. No, medical science has basically cracked the problem of disease, Mr. Hasselblad. It's just a question of mopping up the last few now, really.
Well, that's strange.
What is?
Well, my uncle died of cancer. They weren't able to cure him.
Yes, cancer is proving to be a bit awkward.
My aunt died of Parkinson's disease. They couldn't cure her.
Yes.
My brother's got diabetes and my piano teacher's an epileptic. They can't cure either of those. I had a cousin who died from an asthma attack and my mother's had rheumatoid arthritis for the last 15 years.
Right.
Both my godparents have had strokes. My brother-in-law died of cirrhosis and my dressmaker had chronic bronchitis for 6 years before he died of heart disease and my sister gets premenstrual tension. They haven't been able to cure a single one of those.
You haven't had much luck in your family, have you?
And now I've got AIDS, which, besides being almost certain to kill several members of the studio audience, is going to make the bubonic plague look like a runny nose. And you're telling me not to worry?
Yeah, probably better your way round, actually. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Mr. Hasselblad.
Are the results of my test back yet?
Yes, they are. You've got AIDS and you're going to die.
Looks a bit like it.
All because you were a git and you thought that men in white coats were going to do all the thinking for you. Can I have your stereo when you're dead?
Thank you, Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry. They are, of course, from Saturday Live. Hugh and Steve have painted an accurate picture there of what doctors can do. Or have they? Let's ask the real doctors. Susie, how close are doctors to finding a cure for AIDS?
Unfortunately, we don't have a drug at the moment which can be considered a cure for AIDS at all. And it will take a major scientific breakthrough before we do, which in fact is not going to happen for some years to come.
And in some years, what do you mean?
Well, at the moment, most of the research is being centred around drugs which will suppress the virus, and we are getting a bit better in managing patients who are infected with the virus. But they're not drugs which will cure you of the virus. We're just talking about making people a bit better who are already infected.
Well, Charles, your colleague, it's clear we won't be able to cure people for many years to come from what Susie says, but some people think that they needn't worry because there'll be a vaccine that will come along that will protect them from AIDS, like we've all had those polio things on sugar cubes at school and everything. Is that going to happen?
I think that'd be a very foolish thing to think, Mike. I know there has been some hopeful noises from some laboratories around the world about the possibility of a vaccine against the AIDS virus. But there's a real possibility that we'll never develop a vaccine against this virus. A vaccine can only stimulate natural immunity, and we're not yet sure that anybody's got natural immunity against this virus. But if we're lucky, and in a year or two there is such a vaccine, it's then got to be rigorously tested. After all, a vaccine is something we give to well people who are not infected to prevent them from getting infected. So we have to be very sure it's safe, right. And we have to have it very rigorously tested.
Right. For the moment, both, thank you very much indeed. So it's quite clear you can't rely on medicine to protect you from AIDS. But we also found a few young people pinning their hopes on something else. They thought the government would save the day. So can we rely on Mrs. Thatcher and her colleagues? To check on how well the government are doing, we are now going live to number 10 Downing Street.
I put that cake mix somewhere. I just
What's the verdict on Norman's campaign?
Oh, it's very nice.
I love those
very
pictures
tasty.
of those. Did we get the message across?
Oh, absolutely. I, for one, will be buying as many shares in it as I can. When is the closing date?
You can't buy shares in it, Bunter. That was an advert for power drills.
It was not an advert for power drills.
No, not just power drills. I mean, chisels, masonry, explosives, water.
What about the other advert with the icebergs? Did you understand that?
Oh, absolutely, and I, for one, have ordered a new fridge already.
I thought it was even better than the Sid one. Oh, shame it didn't have a puppy, though, with that nice toilet paper.
I don't think we want to mention toilet paper, do we?
Look, you morons, didn't you get the message at all? It was explicitly and frankly about, you know, thingy. What's it called?
Absolutely. And I'm buying 200 quid's worth.
Well, it's obviously gone over your heads. What about the leaflets?
Oh, very tasteful, PM. Very nice. I've had mine framed.
But was it effective?
Well, to be honest, I found it went rather soggy. Perhaps I should have only used it once.
Good. So everybody in the country now knows what to do about AIDS.
Run like hell, that's what I say. Don't stick around, mate. Get out of it.
Well, thank you very much. They were, of course, spitting image. They weren't the real ones, but I'm sure the real members of the government probably reckon that they're doing a bit better than that lot. But there are limits to what any government can do in this fight against AIDS. What can the government actually achieve? We asked the real health chief, Norman Fowler.
Well, the fact of the matter is that the government is already doing a great deal in this area. We're devoting something like £20 million to the public education campaign alone. But I'm the first one to realise and understand that the government can't achieve this alone. It is for people, like the people who are watching your First AIDS programme, to change behaviour, to change attitudes. It is not something which can be left to the government.
Thank you, Norman Fowler. You can tell he's the real one. He's not wearing a tie. So, if we want to keep AIDS out of our lives, we're going to have to do it ourselves. And in the rest of this programme, we'll be looking at how we can do that. But first, to remind us that there is more to love than the threat of AIDS, here's Alison Moyet. She has a new chartbuster. It's Weak in the Presence of Beauty.